All right. Hopefully this has us back in. That was a technical. Well, let's hope this works. This is a really crazy network issue. You go to try new things out and run into different things happening. Hopefully we can get this up and working again. Let me get this screen broadcasting again. Start broadcast. Add camera. There we go. Hopefully that's gonna do the trick. Let's see if this is working now. Oh man. I'm wondering if I have to create a whole new event, because this isn't popping up at all. Is this us? Let's see. That would be great. That would be great. Yes! Oh man. Excellent. We're back. Okay. Cutting back over to this. I had to switch out. Something was not doing what it was supposed to do, and that made for a very tough situation trying to get this thing going. See, look at me. I'm looking at myself live, and I'm trying to figure it out. Look how confused I look. I look very confused. So weird. It's like a time slip. Okay, so we're in. And like I was saying, sometimes I will keep a script on the left side while I'm doing layouts and do the drawing on the right side. So you can have your reference, you can zoom in and check your reference out. So like I like some of the details of this suit. So I'll come in and borrow some of the details of this thing. Just for kicks of it, I like some of the lines on his suit. Let's see how his belt is. It's got like a little Y sort of formation with the little straps that come down here, right? And maybe for this, I'll put like if he had a ray gun in his hand, he's like dropping it, so it would probably swing down that way, like that, with his finger kind of on it, but his hands loosening up on the grip. So again, like what I do is I'll reference things in Pinterest while I'm working. I will use it for practicing drawing anatomy or studying faces, that sort of thing. But it's not limited to just Pinterest. Like I said, it splits. You can do split screen on any app. So we're back in this. What I do from here is I'll fatten up my brush, and I'll think of like a light source. And let's say it's that her hands are kind of a light source, which will throw. And this is something I'm working on, like I said, as far as shadows and things. I'm thinking about doing a lot more shadow work, like the idea of putting shadows and things, just to give a sense a little more solidness, and it allows for mood and that sort of thing. So I'll throw like a little pass like this uh, and uh, and then start from here is where I'll start doing tightening it up. So I'll reduce the opacity on that layer, create a whole brand new layer. Uh, I have different drawing pencils that I created. This one's called Beast. Let's see what size it is. It's that size. That's a decent size. So I'll start in on this guy, and we're gonna go fast because our little mishap cost us some time. And what you're watching right now is real speed. You're seeing this real speed. In fact, I can take this camera and switch it over here, and hopefully the audio won't drop out in the same way. But you can see that I use this pretty much just like paper. And again, with digital, you can go a little faster and be slightly more fearless in the lines you put down and the things that you want to experiment with. And then one of the things that I try to do for a couple of reasons, I like having original art, but also I like real ink and feel like digital inks. And there's plenty of guys that do it great. But I feel like digital inks are kind of generic in a way, because the tool while it works, it has a sort of a series of I don't know if you want to call it sweeteners or whatever. That's a text coming over. I don't know who that is. But that brush does is it kind of sweetens your line, so you have this like really nice crisp quality, but it's got like it loses the crunchiness, it loses the personality. I feel that way even about McFarlane's stuff when he's inking digitally. Is the idea that I don't know, it just, real ink is real, and there are things about it. I mean, maybe I sound like an old codger or whatever, but and I've seen guys get around the original art thing. Like there's the guy who does House of M or Powers of M. He makes a limited edition print that's one of one, and he sells that, and it's like a really high quality print of that digital piece. So there's that, but digital inks look too nice. It's missing human element. Right, exactly. That's exactly how I feel about it. I feel like digital inks, it's like when something's too quantized, music is too quantized and doesn't have the ghost notes or the swing. And a lot of what I enjoy about McFarlane's stuff, and we can look at that stuff too when we get a little further into the stream. Excuse me. Back to the screen. That was so you guys can all take a drink of your favorite libation. Like you said, Akuma, digital inks look too nice. That's it. McFarlane's inks lose the organics he used to have, especially when he inks with white lines. Yeah, see, I'm not the only one that sees it, and I mean, you guys can tell what a crazy McFarlane fan I am, and especially the classics. His new stuff's great too, and it's like when I saw he was inking Capullo with inks. I mean, it's Pigma microns that he's doing it with, but the fact that it's still his hand and it's inks, and they're the limitations that exist within those things. I prefer it, and it's not definitely not a knock. It's not a knock on digital, because here you go, you're watching me now work digitally. So right now I'm thinking about this ray gun, and I want it to be kind of retro-ish. So I'm, in my mind, a la like McFarlane's method, I'm trying to imagine something I would have seen in an old Frazetta piece, or like Buck Rogers, but like not the one with Aaron Gray, because young people are like, who's Aaron Gray? But to anybody over 40, Aaron Gray is like the space Linda Carter. But now I'm thinking of like 50s, shit's got a fin on it type of ray gun. That shit like that. I was happy to see Todd go back to traditional inks in 300, but it's not that I think his digital is inorganic. It just looks over-rendered, like a Todd McFarlane Photoshop filter. Yeah, that's it's interesting, right? Like it's definitely interesting, and what makes his stuff awesome is the funk. It's the kind of the grime. It's same with like Stephen Platt. Like I'm a big Platt fan, and one of the things I liked about his work, especially the Moon Knight and first, that first Prophet cover that he had done, and the first couple Prophet issues where he was inking himself, there was like a real sense of organic life, I don't know, emotion, humanity. I don't know what the words are. I'm using a bunch of, metaphors or whatever, but you guys get what I'm saying. It's like, and as he started doing, what up, Phantom Hero, my man? It's good to see you, dude. Solomon. Your dad's on here too, I believe. So no swearing, man. You don't swear on here. You're awesome. You're very respectful and respectable, and I respect that respectfully. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the grime. So, even on my G.I. Joe cover that I had done recently, I penciled the thing in Procreate, and then I printed it out and I inked it with the real stuff. So the fun thing, like I was saying, like versus just like when I go straight into ink, is I can, especially going this fast, I can it's crazy to see his inks over Jay Scott. That's the truth. But what I'm saying regarding working like this is all of the keep the composition work is there. I know where he's at. I know where she's at. I like where the shapes are. I don't have to concern myself with that. And right now I'm more concentrated on creating funky shapes within the shapes that we have. And yeah, we looked at that Martian, the Martian suit, right? So one of the things, like I said, I liked is that sort of divider design element down the middle. And I left some gray here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put like a bit of a textured pattern here to represent, like, maybe this is like a mesh. So I'm going to use the pattern of that mesh as the rendering for the shading, and maybe throw a couple peaks of that pattern in there too, just to reinforce it, the idea that's a texture versus just like the way the rendering looks. Put some stuff like that. Digital is new to me. Watching you trips me out and looks great. Thank you, sir. And then Phantom Hero, what software is this on? So this is an app called Procreate. It's the latest version that you can get. That said, there's going to be a new version coming out that a lot of people, I've been trying to get a hold of the beta on it because I've seen on YouTube people use it, and version 5 is supposed to come out really soon. And the thing that excites me most about version 5 is you can import Photoshop brushes, and there's going to be an animation portion of it, and fully redesigned from the ground up is what they say. So some of the issues that a lot of us longtime users have, like, they used to not have text abilities, now they do. There were issues with after you made a selection, and could you add to it, and those sort of little aching things. What up, Rooster Puncher? What up, man? It's good to see you. Very good to see you. Thanks for coming through. We had some technical difficulties earlier, and it was a little crazy. So here's another thing that like, especially for you guys that are drawing along and creating your stuff, I'll give you some of the tips that work for me as far as what I consider filling up the creative gas tank. Jungi, when I was talking to him in his interview, he said during the morning he'll go on the internet and just like kind of absorb stuff, like look things up. Sometimes he draws it, and what I kind of do that during my entire process. Yeah, see, Procreate 5 before the end of the year. Man, I'm so stoked. I'm so stoked for Procreate 5. It's like I said, I've been writing them and saying, how can I get that beta? How can I get a hold of it now? Because I was a beta tester for their mobile phone version called Pocket, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty darn close to the iPad version. I wish it'd be kind of cool if Apple Pencils worked on iPhone. So another guy I'm a big fan of is a dude named Jean Girard, and you guys might know him by his moniker of Mobius. I've never had the chance to meet him. I wish I did. There are like 3 guys that are out there that have passed away where opportunities existed for me to have met these people because they were in the same building at the same time during like early San Diego cons, like 94 and like some of those. But Frank Frazetta, Mobius, and Buscema are the guys that like Frazetta I was scared to meet because I'd heard stories that he could be abrasive, and I don't, I've met my share of abrasive folks, and I didn't want any of that destroyed. Jean Girard, same sort of thing. Not that he's a bad guy, but I hold him in such a high esteem that I don't know. I just didn't want to ruin it, I guess, is the idea behind it. And Buscema, he's the one guy that I don't think we've ever been in the same state at the same time. If I don't know. I've never had a time to see it. Have a good night, Solomon. Thanks, dude. Thank you very much. So a lot of the stuff I like about Mobius are almost natural sensibilities that I have without looking at Mobius at all. Like, I've had people say things like, "Oh man, that feels like Mobius," and there are Art Adams had said in an interview, you can emulate all you want, but at the end of the day, you end up drawing like yourself. And one of my natural tendencies, even in my high school days, was sort of a linear dots and dash style that was very very Mobius-like. Oh, Bernie Wrightson, man, I don't want to throw salt on the wound, man, but he was a guest at Pittsburgh Comic-Con almost every year, and I would go to that show almost every year as well, and I used to drink with that guy, and he was the coolest, and we almost never talked to Art. He talked a few times about, like, one of the reasons he had slowed down and his style had changed a little bit was because he thought he was allergic to either ink or something, and it was like fucking his fingers up, like causing this sort of like skin peel and rash on his fingers. So he changed up a little bit, which changed his style. And what ended up happening, and it was something that his wife at the time had discovered, was that there was the barrels that they keep, that the metal part of a brush, the barrel that holds the hair, there was a high level of nickel in them, and it turned out that he was allergic to the nickel that was in the metal of the brush. So she came up with a really great solution, which was to take clear nail polish and cover that part of the barrel with clear nail polish, and it solved the allergy issue, and he was able to go back to using the tools that he enjoyed and felt most comfortable with. So there's a little Bernie Wrightson story for you, if it's even interesting. But yeah, I thought it was a trip, because I'm a big fan of comic history, things, little tidbits, I'm gonna have myself a beverage. I know I cut out to this because I like this brand. They're called Sweetwater. This is their extra pale ale 420. They're out of Georgia, so that's why I've never heard of them in California. But they make some really good beverages. How are you guys doing tonight? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're enjoying this. I know it's a little different to watch artwork almost sort of magically appear in front of your eyes, instead of seeing the hand moving the pen around. So I'm gonna go extra fast on this, because I want to show you guys some other things. So yeah, that's here's the other thing regarding when I say natural tendencies, my natural tendencies are more in the realm of cartooning versus realism. But my favorite guys are the guys who cartoon with a bit of realism in their stuff. Guys like Michael Golden and Arthur Adams, and even guys like Sam Keith. Like they're still like a very solid level of reality, form, and lighting, and that sort of thing. It's not like completely crazy cartoony. Guys like Joe Matt are sort of in the same category, as far as they're cartoony, but there's like some lighting and some things happening in their work that ground it as if it was a real thing. And that's why yesterday I was using the analogy of like a sculpture. Someone can sculpt like a cartoon version of Mickey Mouse, but that would be the good analogy for it, is if you can take a look at Mickey Mouse and then you could sculpt him based on a 2D drawing, but once you apply light to that and you apply physics to it, it is a 3D real thing, but it's with a cartoony thing, Doing great. Finished my Inktober and digging it. Good. Feeling good, my dude. That's great. I'm glad to hear that. I'm feeling good too. I was able to finish up my layouts for He-Man 3 last night before we had done our live session, and I had Andre Krumoff and Matt Yackey over, and it was I don't know. We were just talking how like a studio could be fun. Not that we're starting one. Not saying that, but just saying like for me, having the guys over took my mind out sometimes, because one of the things, I try to be as real as possible when it comes to the job of drawing comics. And anytime I post anything that's real, I end up getting a lot of clap back from people, but it's always clap back from people that don't really know what I'm saying. What I'm saying isn't complaining. Like I'll post a quote from Wally Wood saying that he would not be a comic book artist again if he had to be, because the concept of sitting in a room 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, drawing at certain times becomes like solitary confinement. And that I would say that in no way, I don't feel like for me that's not complaining. That's kind of a reality thing. And I'll tell you what, some days are like that. And you go, yes, I do know I draw for a living. Very happy to. And when I post something like the Wally Wood thing, it's more of like to let people know that it's like any job that you love and enjoy. Sometimes it becomes a grind. The reason I brought that up is, like I said, having some company over breaks up the monotony of it, because yes, I'm drawing all day long. I'm drawing awesome He-Man characters, having a good time, but I'm also racing a deadline. I'm also in my head. There's nothing to break up me being in my own head. And every artist has their own sort of what do you call them? Insecurities, maybe. I guess that would be it. And it's actually one of the questions that I have in my Couch Doodles Hanging with Masters series. One of the questions I ask is, what are you most self-conscious about? And some guys would have their answer would be their weight or some other things. See what I'm doing here is I'm drawing these rocks kind of floating up. I wanted to kind of give the idea that her powers is affecting even the gravity around this guy. You know what I'm saying? Did you see Rob Liefeld talking about Marvel doing shady stuff on Twitter today? Living in a gilded cage. That's a good one, Yaki. Yeah. No, I didn't see anything from Rob on Twitter today. But today was like my first day off, and like a real day off where I didn't have shit to do. No storyboarding, no comicking, no nothing. And I pretty much was around to help my wife do errands and shit. But I'll tell you, Rob is one of the guys that I talk to pretty. I wouldn't say the word is regularly, unless you say it's like regularly every like once a month. Let's call it once a month. And I've known Rob now. Come November 19th, because that's when I met him. November 19th, 1989. I've known Rob for 30 years. So I've heard him talk about his feelings on certain things, and I've seen him be very tight-lipped, but I don't know what he had to say regarding Marvel, but it's just an interesting thing, that guy. It's like I've had my experiences with him, good and bad, and I'm really glad we're past the bad. And I really I dig him, but there, a lot of people, I don't know how to explain the current sort of environment out there, but like nobody ever wants another Image to happen again. I know that, but then there's like, I don't know, I can go off on it, but we're gonna talk about Inktober more than anything. Rob I'm sure has his reasons, and sometimes, like you said, he doesn't bite his tongue. He goes off, but he's also super intelligent, and he's a big boy, so he knows what he's doing. If he's calling him out, it's probably something between him and them. I just know that, especially in the last 4 or 5 years, he's hit major home runs for them. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents, but I don't know specifically what he had to say. Yeah, Image was rad, Rooster Puncher, but one of the things though is that what it represented, like comics, especially back in the 90s, they were ran. See, this is the cool thing about digital. I don't like what I just did right there, and I just take it out. They were like investors in movie studios and publishing companies, and like it would be good to read the Hey Kids comics by Howard Chaykin, because he talks about like how comics, especially like in the early days, were operated at a loss because they were kind of like money laundering operations. So not saying that's what they are now, but what I'm saying is like they knew what they were doing, and they had sort of an idea of the purpose of things. And we as fans like seeing an artist in charge, or at least have control, because he's the underdog and he's the one making the stuff, and you got big business profiting on it. And like at the end of the day, it is a good thing. I'm an artist, I want to do my own thing, but if your business is to make money making comics, the Image represents a threat to the status quo, so to speak. So I mean, I can see why, perhaps that conspiracy theory exists of, they don't want another Image, but I don't know. Here's the thing though, I don't know if that's possible, because one of the things that has been, I don't want to say mandated, because I don't know, I can't even talk on it, because I don't absolutely know. I just know that I came up in a time during, this is one of those things where it's like, you get melancholy thinking about it, but like there was a period of time when I can go into a comic book store, buy a book by McFarlane, by Larson, by Dale Keown, by Walt Simonson, by Arthur Adams, Frank Miller, John Byrne, Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, and Mike Zeck, and Rick Leonardi, and the like major awesome quality, all in the same time period. You know what I mean? And I could go in with like $20 and get them all. And what Matt said, I think crowdfunding will be the next new direct market coming up. It very much has the potential to be. It very much has the potential to be. But going back to what I was saying is that with how things are now, I've said it. I'm a big Ryan Stegman fan. I like what he does. I absolutely. The funny thing is I didn't know who he was until a couple of months ago, because I wasn't really buying comics, and then I met him in Connecticut and I saw his stuff and was like, "Yo, this guy's dope." Found out he's been around for a while, but I'm a fan of his Spider-Man. I'm not sure what else he's gonna do. Does he have a creator-owned thing? Will it make you as excited? And the thing is like the excitement for comics isn't as universal as it was back in the day. And this is my assessment of it. Take it or leave it, but this is my assessment. Back in 91, let's call it the super heyday, 91. 91 was a good year, right? Let's take Jim Lee's Wolverine. The best Wolverine that you ever see, ever. Better than any cartoon, better than any live action, better than any video game, better than any toy, would be Jim's Wolverine. That's the one you want to see, and that's how you're going to get that Wolverine is by buying Jim Lee's version of him. And it was certainly at the time the most badass version. But as time goes on, versions of Wolverine end up looking like Hugh Jackman, and the video game ends up looking like Hugh Jackman, and comics are now not a niche thing, and moms have crushes on Hugh Jackman and know who he is, and he's a big movie star, and now Wolverine is everywhere, and the video game version is cool, and all this stuff. But like sort of the low man on the totem pole would be enforced cooking books. That's funny. That's true. But the drop as far as what do you call it, the lack of interest and stuff is because the version is not as cool. And there are less cool versions of. There is no Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, Rob Liefeld, Sam Keith, Barry Smith, Wolverine frenzy out there anymore. Let's get back into talking about some of the limitations of digital that Rich Friend was talking about, and I'll show you what it is that what I mean. Now, I'm able to zoom in on this guy's face really tight, like way up in there, right? And I have the ability to make my brush so small that I could go in there and really, draw like eyebrows and eyebrow hairs and really render the heck out of it because I'm zoomed in. But then when I zoom out, that detail becomes kind of wispy and doesn't really matter and it doesn't feel right. And you see a lot of that in digital stuff. Is a lot of small things, detail on detail, and kind of a lack of focus. And what I've done to combat that, and it's something I suggest people do, is really restrict yourself when it comes to brush sizes. So that even if you're zoomed in like this, you think in the language of what it's like to communicate that idea with that big chunky thing, versus I need to go smaller, because now see it works within the detail of the rest of the stuff because the brush is about the same size. So that's one of the ways I combat that sort of digital look, so to speak, is by working with a fixed brush size. Oh look, Rich! Hey man, how are you, dude? I'm actually here, first time I'm inking He-Man right now. Heck yeah. I just finished layouts for issue 3. I can show them to you guys because you won't be able to see them because I'm going to open them and then I'm going to close them. Just like that. Just like that. Rich, I'm so glad you're here because this is something that I was talking about in reaction to a video you had just posted about how some of the digital stuff doesn't hold up, and it's because of the ability to zoom and make your brush smaller. And like Matt Yackey, look at it, the whole He-Man team is here with exception of Seeley. The tiniest faces digitally, and the blue makes it hard to see. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you heard it. So yeah, if you stay with a fixed brush size, you kind of keep yourself in some guardrails regarding the language of lines that you're using, and you're not drawing leaves on trees that are tiny in reference to the rest of the page. So right now I'm going in and detailing his face for the communicating the idea of enchantment. I'm putting that sort of old school energy lines around his frontal lobe, that makes him make poor decisions because he's enchanted, like getting on his knees and giving up his weapon. Here we go. So our enchanted astronaut is in the building. He is done. We will finish our space queen, enchantress. Let me do this. Let me put some floating tech. This. All right. So with her, like I said, I wanted to make her feel like she was from a different place, otherworldly, or he's there visiting her world. So with her, I'm changing it up to be a little more fantasy oriented, big bauble style gold metal sort of bracelet idea. Thinking about like Conan meets some medieval stuff. So like, I put this sort of on the other hand down below. You could see I put these sort of like brass knuckles style glove with like little claws on it, because I imagined something like there's a Beyonce video where she's got like some sort of witchblade looking glove, and I always thought like, yeah, that's kind of cool. But that, we're affected by things, and that's why I was bringing up McFarlane and how sometimes, and this is why I always say go with your imagination first. When our memory a lot of times reflects upon a feeling, and like McFarlane saying, oh, when I created my Spider-Man, I was aiming more for that Ditko vibe, right? And when you think about that, I want to put a snake in here too. When you think about that on anything you do, like right now I said like, oh, like a Beyonce, and then right now the snake came to me because I remember that Britney Spears performance where she had that big boa around her, so when I think about that, and I think about like, oh, pop music, can be enchanting, and so I'm just bringing feelings and vibes, right? And not exact references, but feelings and vibes. And a lot of times you can, through those things, be evocative in things. So like back here on her wings, I'm thinking kind of dragonfly-ish, but coral as well. So like I'm thinking about the idea of coral. So these like these sort of corally like growth rock formation type thing. So it feels a little more organic. And then sprouting up and out of her would be that dragonfly feel, right? So then I put the wing in, and then that sort of wispy tail thing, and then had another one cutting across here like this. Then again, we can zoom in. You see I haven't changed brush size, and I can kind of feel out textures and things using that. And then again, like I said, I had an idea of light direction coming from these hands. So one of the things I'll do near the end of this is do sort of a lighting pass. But I'm going to try to go a little quicker because I want to show you some really cool digital comics and fun stuff. Okay, boom. It's kind of cool to have the He-Man team here. It's these guys are doing an incredible job, and we've got our first issue coming out November 20th in your comic book stores, and I'm super stoked. It's a 6-issue mini-series. Each of the issues takes place in a different reality that we've seen He-Man in. Space He-Man, Barbarian He-Man, He-Man 2000. A lot of these things. So I got to play with a lot of really fun designs. Go through a lot of challenges. One of the things I'm trying to do with this new issue, and they're in my layouts. But I'm trying to implement the concept of putting more black, like I said, more black and shadow into the work to create a sense of mood and also a bit of economy. Issue 2 is pretty detail laden and with Rich here and with Matt here, I can publicly apologize for the pain that I may have put them through with all the detail and shit, because all of my favorite guys, like I said, McFarlane and Golden and Art Adams, those guys, they don't fake the funk, and I used to have I was inked by Norm Rapman, a good buddy of mine, and Norm used to get on me about my detail, and he said, nobody's ever going to look at that, is what he says. Nobody's ever going to look at that. Why do you put that detail there? Nobody's ever going to look at that. And I pulled out Doctor Strange 55, and I said, if Michael Golden had that attitude, I wouldn't be looking at this for the 300th time. Like that's one of those books you can pour over, and I don't know, we could all have aspirations. My aspirations are exceed my, what do they say, have things that exceed your grasp, and my aspirations, especially with my artistic ability, exceed my ability. My imagination exceeds my ability, and but that's what I work towards. That's one of the things I work towards is having getting to that level and giving the effort it'll take to deserve somebody. Doctor Strange is over 30 years ago. 30 years from now, someone picks up something that I do and says, yo, this was the shit back in the day, man. I couldn't put this down. And, they've got a spinner rack, and they put my shit on a spinner rack, and they're looking at the work that, Matt, Rich, and I did, and I go, okay, yeah, well, there's that old saying of pain is temporary, film is forever. We could argue and shit and go, we don't get paid enough for it to to give a damn. But I make a better living doing storyboards, and my joke is always that Mafia. Every time I leave, they keep pulling me back. I came back after 17 years of not working in comics to draw this He-Man book. That, like I said on one of my live feeds, there was somebody on Facebook that had said, I hope you don't half-ass this, I hope you don't half-ass it, and I say, yo, dude, I respect your honesty, but I didn't come back after being gone for 17 years to fake the funk. I'm not gonna do that. If I'm coming back, I'm putting in the work. It fucking hurts sometimes. There are days where I'm so damn tired, but I'm not gonna fake it. I'm gonna give my all with the 8 to 10 hours that I have to do it. And it's the same way. And when I have storyboard work come in during that time, my days turn into 16-hour days. That's just the way it is, because I don't do half-ass anymore. Like I'll tell you a story about a book. Tell you a story about a book. Okay, so this is like oh, no name. I'm gonna answer that in a question. So back in '97, I got my big break working for Marvel. I got hired to do a What If issue. I got hired to do a Gen X annual '97. Got those were the three Marvel jobs, and I started off that Gen X annual really wanting to prove myself, and the first 8 pages took me like 3 weeks. Not kidding. Like I was like second guessing myself, and but also having shit habits like procrastination. In '97, we didn't have social media, but we had PlayStation 1, and we had Final Fantasy 7, and we had Tekken, and we had Street Fighter, and all those other really fantastic old school video games. And I used to say things to myself like, just one more level, and then anyhow, RW, I see your question, and I'm gonna answer it. Well, that's very kind. I did not half-ass the grave. I don't half-ass anything that I do. But anyhow, so on Gen X, my editor I put an X there, like the inker's gonna fill it in. Oh my God, I'm sorry, Rich. Holy shit. Autopilot. Sorry. Now who's half-assing? I'm autopiloting. The editor basically said if you don't finish the book by the end of the week, you're fired and shit. So I ended up doing, I don't know, it was some crazy ass amount. Like stayed up 50 something hours straight, and made Larry stay up with me and do it, and really just horrible situation that I put him in. I put the letterer in, I put the colorist in, and the thing that was crazy is once I was done with that, and I kind of got a rush. Yeah, Cool Borders, exactly, dude. Same shit, man. But I got this sort of rush, but the thing that was dangerous was I was like, oh man, I was able to do that many pages in one sitting. That's kind of amazing. So my record, biggest record ever, you can get it to, I don't remember the number, I think it's 102 or 104 or something like that, of what if Captain America had been thawed in the 70s or something. Yeah, it was during the bicentennial, whatever. I did 18 pages in a 24-hour sitting, okay, with Larry, and I did that to him a second time, okay. I look at those issues now, and I see them, and I still get a little red in the face from how embarrassed, I don't know, maybe even the word would be, yo, what up, Vince? I don't know if I want to use the word shameful, but yeah, man, like it's not a good feeling to look at those and know like those were basically hacked, and when I left comics, like I did Wolverine, I was doing a fair clip, about 4 pages a week, whatever. Uh, the editors, when I was done, gave me Black Panther, and I really took that job seriously. But I really slowed down to 3 to 4 pages a week, and they had said, like, hey man, we really need you to pick up the pace on this, and I just couldn't, I couldn't, and I was running into a lot of self-doubt and just being in my head too much regarding everything, and anyhow, I left comics after drawing a fill-in of Superman, finishing the book in 5 weeks. Felt like it was best thing I'd ever drawn, and I did it on time. And editorial basically lost my number. They I don't know what happened, but they weren't calling me, and this was 2003. But around the same time, I got a bunch of opportunities in storyboarding, and I just remember saying to myself, Unreal Tournament, hell yeah. Just remember saying to myself, like, I'm never, ever gonna ever fuck up again. It's especially compounded in production when there's people like designers, set designers, cameramen waiting to purchase rentals. There you go. That's a good one. They need to rent equipment based on the needs of the storyboards that are approved by the director, who's this is his game plan for the show, the shoot, whatever it is. So you really have to be there and on time and know what you're there for, and that really changed my my mentality on things. And like now, I make sure I'm delivering the 5 pages a week that I'm supposed to. Sometimes it's a 7-day week versus a 5-day week, but it's still I get the pages done, and I give my all, and I look at it in a different light. I always say, like, I'm not gonna do more than 10 hours, and maybe that's in itself is a form of a half-assing it, but it's not really. I'm giving you my 100% best. I lock myself in a room. I see my kids for a couple of hours. I take them to school and I pick them up at the bus stop and I see them at dinner. That's what the kind of comic book life is. But those extra couple hours is really where I put that energy goes into balance in life. You can't be 100% of something because it without other things suffering. And real balance is created by setting limits for each thing. So I always say, like, with a comic book page, I won't let it take over 10 hours unless it's something that's like just bananas, like some of the scenes in issue 3, and those are going to be those 5 pages over 7 days, because there's some scenes that have multiple characters. So I'm going to crease the size of my brush right now to throw in some shadow accenting, because again, I'm not good with the contrast placement yet, but studying guys like Mignola and Bernie Wrightson, and even modern guys like Finch. They have an understanding of how light works that I really need to start dialing in on. Anyway, this is Enchantment right here. Let's I'm gonna sign it. Date it. Today's the 7th. Enchanted. And I'll tell you what's really cool about this app. Watch this. We can go to video and do time-lapse replay, and we could watch the whole thing play back. And this is what's great is I can export this out to Facebook or Instagram as another slice, just to show people how it was done, you know. All right, let's see. I'm gonna go back into these questions. What's your opinion on artists who convey emotion through their art, such as Basquiat and many other artists who aren't concerned with technical detail? I love them. Those are the guys that really blow me away. Like a lot of these concept guys and environment painters that do it as their day jobs. Guys like Craig Mullins, he goes by Good Brush. Guys like Bill Sienkiewicz. And going into Basquiat, and if you want to go even more sort of like feeling, you go with like Rothko and what his stuff evokes. I love that. That's actually a point I make. Like, I'm not a huge fan of realism. I do like technical ability, but at the end of the day, good handwriting does not make a good writer. I've always said Shakespeare could have drawn or written his sonnets with his left hand and a crayon, and it's still Shakespeare. So when did you find your love of art, and why did you start? That's from RW. I'll give you the quick answer of it. I grew up in a small town called Pacheco, and the sister town called Martinez, and my dad had like an acre of land, and we had chickens and geese and stuff, and there were guinea pigs and doves and whatever. It was a small sort of farm, and not a lot of money, so imagination was key. You know, I would listen to TV shows on the radio and imagine things. So a lot of what I did stemmed from wanting to exercise my imagination, where a lot of my friends were doing it with action figures. I was doing it through drawing, and I found comics, found out you can make a living doing comics, was told by a professional that I would not be able to draw comics professionally because I wasn't good enough. Things like you'll never make it and things like that made me really sort of double down on wanting to do it. But the real cincher for me was the idea that possibilities are boundless if you had a piece of paper and something to draw with, and then the better you get at doing it and conveying what's inside your head, the more you get to manifest what your mind's compulsions. So that's sort of the long and short. Couch Doodles, Rich Friend, and Cartoonist K Faber, my favorite art channels on you. Dude, thank you, man. That's really good company. Oh, Matt keeps dropping all the stuff. Yeah, so Quake, Unreal Tournament. We had this thing called Ultra Kill Federation, and we got a UFC belt, it was a WWF belt, and we created new stickers for it, and we would battle each other, and the victor would get the belt and shame the person who lost. And this is all during Wolverine, so there was a lot of distraction time, and Matt Yackey was part of it. So yeah. Let's see. Cool Borders, yeah, man, I love that game. A page a day and no more than 10 hours sounds like sound advice from what you said the other day. Yeah, that's what you got to do. Yeah, see, Rich is talking about it. I started working at 8 a.m. this morning at 7 p.m. now. Yeah, that's how it is, man. Like, I have had some 12-hour days, but also, fortunately, we have good editorial where if I don't deliver the 5 on Friday, which is the thing, I'll deliver at least 3 and do pickup on Saturday and Sunday, and I try not to work weekends. But this particular story arc is pretty labor intensive with the amount of characters and situations going on. Yeah, dug in deep is absolutely right. Like Rich said, what advice would you give a starting artist? The secret is out. Art historians how to play catch up on Basquiat. Yeah. All right. What advice would I give to a starting artist? And we're gonna go back into my iPad because I'm gonna show you guys some really cool shit. So one of the things I like to do is collect comics. I've been collecting comics for a long time, and I'm gonna get to your answer, Mr. RW. Starting artist, I say draw every day, draw everything. Do exercises to draw out of your head, but also draw as much as you can from reference in an effort to absorb things. Don't say I want to copy this thing. Say I want to absorb what it is to draw a turtle, and just spend like a day drawing turtles, or even spend your drawing time that day drawing turtles for like a half hour if you want, so this, and then we'll get into, I'll give some more of that answer. So you'll see here, I'm making it wobble so you know it's not frozen. This is my book section, and this is where I keep a lot of my comics. So I have Comixology. I'm a subscriber to it, to certain things. I like John Romita Jr. We were actually talking about him the other day. These are some of the things that I have from Comixology. I like Comixology a lot. I also sometimes, if I don't have a book, I'll go to readcomics.online.to to just check them out. But for the most part, I try to buy as much as I possibly can. Just we got to support our brethren. I have different comic book readers that I enjoy, right? So I like RW. It doesn't matter if you're a girl or young or old or whatever. There's no criteria. If you want to draw and you want to create and you have something to say, let your light shine. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. But that was my other point to you as a starting artist, is have something to say. If you could draw as well as Michelangelo, but you don't have anything to say, that's a bummer. There's a really good movie that you should see called F for Fake, and it's got a documentary on it, but it has a whole thing about Picasso. But one of the things that's really interesting about this particular movie, F for Fake, is there's this artist that lived in Spain who was an art forger, and he could do a Matisse, he could do a Picasso, he can do a Renoir, he could do a Monet, a Degas. He can do them flawlessly, and he was kind of chuckling about how he has a few of his forgeries hanging in prominent museums. Like, that's how good of a forger this guy was. And what's also interesting about this, I forget the name of the movie, but it's the one where Richard Gere plays a guy who did a elaborate hoax into tricking people into thinking he wrote a memoir on Howard Hughes. The real guy that this is based on was in this film and interviewed this artist that I'm talking about. So I'm digressing. What was very interesting about this forger, though, was that when it came time to have a voice, when it came time to have something to say with his abilities, he was at an impasse. He didn't have a creative bone in his body regarding like, hey, I think I will express this today. What he needed in his life to create was something to copy. That was literally the extent of his ability, and like to me, that's dreadful. Like that's dreadful. So we want to avoid that. So my advice to you is have a voice. Don't go too far. I've talked about this principle called Maya, which is most advanced yet acceptable. You don't want to go so far off the range that it's imperceivable and unrecognizable, where a lot of people can't grasp it. Because if you have something to say, you probably want it to be heard, unless you want it to be so niche that only a specific audience will hear it. That's up to you as a creator. Okay, so I collect comics in digital form as well as physical form. Some things that are too expensive, say like Fantastic Four, right? I love Jack Kirby's Fantastic Four. And here we're going to see, I have the whole collection of Akira here. I own Akira. I own the Japanese versions. Deori, I think you might be right, Mr. Yaki. So I own Akira. I own the Japanese versions. I own the Epic versions. I own the Dark Horse versions. I own the color versions. I own the reverse manga right reading versions. But I have the digital versions, and I have them here, so I have access to them. But this is a really good. This is what I like about technology, is it's a really good tool. So now I can have like 20 long boxes of comics in my backpack in the form of an iPad. Also, like, I own tons of reprints of the Fantastic Four, but there's really something to say about going in and seeing the old ads and seeing the real print process and how some of this stuff holds up. A lot of the reprints that are out there, I'm not crazy about, and the reason I'm not crazy about them is that they a lot of the artists, when they did what they did, they created things knowing the limitations of the printing process, right? So you get guys like Barry Windsor Smith, who did Weapon X, or for example, he did one called Life's Death, which was this one here, right? Life's Death. Here it is. Case in point, here we are on Wounded Wolf. This is the reprint version that I purchased, and the colors don't hold the same. You can see here that there's this like bluish gray on his hand with the yellow light, and it looks like kind of bruisey and weird, and same with the color on her face. But when Barry did this, he did it knowing it was going on newsprint, right? So knowing that, what was this? This was X-Men 205, if I remember correctly. So let's say we go over to Read Comics online, right? That's called readcomicsonline.to, and this is one of the places I go to check things. So if I go Uncanny X-Men 1963, here's the series, and I say let's look for 205. Okay, hopefully I'm spot on, and my examples will shine. That's the high hopes. No, damn it. It's a different issue, and this has the same telltale problems as the example I was showing you. in newsprint, this face looks painterly and gorgeous. In this reprint, it looks garish and weird, and that is precisely why I have preferences for scanned old comics. Let's see what this didn't account for the changes in paper stock and ink. See, Rooster Puncher, you get it. I'm addicted to artist editions. I'm gonna need bigger backpack, dude. Here, I'm gonna switch over to this this camera so you could see my artist edition collection. Those are all artist editions. Those are about all that made it out of boxes from my move. You can also see my He-Man art books there that I use for reference. Yeah, I wish they had those artist editions. They kind of do. That's the thing. You have to like I own the G.I. Joe artist edition, but because I'm such a Golden fan, I had to have a PDF of it, so I could still do things like this and really admire his insane ability to just kick so much ass. But you'll notice I have different apps for different books, and some are better readers for PDFs. I also have multiple versions of something. So for example, you'll see here I have the Avengers Annual 10. This one is from a reprint. You can tell it's a scan from a reprint, but you can see the grain on the print itself. Whereas I have one here called Clean, and this is from a file. It's from a file, and you could go in and there is no grain from the paper whatsoever. And it depends on the book, it depends on the artist, but like for my money's worth, I like seeing the original version of it. Like this is a scan from the newsprint, and you're able to see how the different inks and things interacted with each other. Like let's go back to Barry Windsor Smith. Let's go back to him and look at Weapon X. I have this Weapon X, and you can tell that this one is from the books, from the Marvel Comics Presents. It's from the scan. And see, this is the same sort of color scheme that we had seen on the 205 with the blue, the yellow. But do you see how they kind of interact with one another, creating a painterly effect? There's really something to say about that, you know? Like those guys, even inkers, guys like Klaus Janson knew that certain ways of moving the pen and line contexts would give an end result once it was in print. So I'm a weirdo like that. I also, again, like I said, I will digitize. See, damn glitch. Hopefully that glitch is gone. I'll digitize some of my harder to find books. For example, this book here called The Studio. This book, I have 2 copies of this book, and both of them have problems with their spine, the glue that the Gorblimey Press used. I believe that's Gorblimey Press. It's either that or Dragon Press. I forget the name of the publisher. Dragon's Dream. There you go. Whatever glue they used didn't hold up over the years, but this is a super classic featuring just the amazing work of all the studio artists like Jones and Smith and Kaluta and Wrightson. And again, this is one of those books, like I've poured over my originals plenty enough times, but one of the really wonderful things is the ability to scale in and really kind of soak those things in when it's time to get the full study on. If I go into my I have a Bernie Wrightson section A Look Back is another one of the books that I have where the glue on the spine broke, you know. But look, you can get in there and do that. So it's there's a pluses and minuses to digital. That's all I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. Here's again, this is some of the books I look at and study. Comics Journal. I like some of those old articles. Here's a He-Man mini comic. This is where I got some reference from some of this stuff that Rich, Matt, and I worked on, like this damn spaceship. Spencer, let me know what book you're trying to find. Let me know. Let's see. Let's go back. Oh, here's some classic Art Adams. Again, this stuff is based off of the scans of the comic itself. But again, I like being able to zoom in and see what he did. You know, it's always a lot of fun. So let's cut out of this. I'm gonna bid you guys adieu. Let me see if there's any more questions because I like to answer those for you. Dory, I think you're right, Matt. I think you were there when we watched it, the F for Fake. Didn't account for the change in paper stock. Yeah, that would look way better on newsprint. Absolutely. Need to find a way to get that smell so you can also have the time machine effect reading. Yeah, vanillin, man. I think they make a candle of old book smell. I'm fairly certain of it, and it's pretty accurate. Digital through a stark white background over without knocking back. Yes. See, Rooster Puncher. You guys, some background on Rooster Puncher. His name is Spencer. And Spencer is a comic creator and does a lot of really great work in color and knows how to spec out things for print jobs and prepares things with an understanding of the end result, which is kind of a lost craft. It's actually really a lost craft. So it's one that I think should not be, to be honest with you. And guys like Peter Samedi, hopefully I'm saying Peter's last name right. I always hate saying last names wrong, but he's got Alterna Comics and he's doing a lot of really great stuff on newsprint. Makes me want to consider some things, not Black Flag, because Black Flag was never a newsprint book, but the idea of creating something with that in mind would be a lot of fun. Let's see, if you added a layer, yeah, there's that glitch. Let's see what we got. Oh, that's funny. The original, the music sounded like Dawn of the Dead. We all did watch it. Yeah, that was one of the old Cloud City days. Was the F for Fake, man. We had movie nights and all that. That was a Camelot of times. Well, this was a lovely, nice. Oh, thank you, Spencer. This was a lovely session. Sorry about the connection loss. I'm not sure what happened. I think, like I said, it might be this old phone. This is like a Generation 5 iPhone, and I was using it for the mic jack, but I might end up doing this. I had fun doing the stuff digitally. I hope you guys liked it too. Let me know if you'd like to see more Procreate, or if you prefer seeing the overhead of the actual drawing in ink. They both have pluses and minuses. I like the ability to access the internet and give examples, like going back to Goodreader. A lot of the drawing books that I recommend I have on Goodreader. Let's cut over to it one more time, unless it's gone. Let me see. Cameras. Yeah, it's gone. It cut out. My iPad cut out. So you're not going to see it this time, gang. Uh-oh. There we go. Here we are. All right, well, guys, thank you so much for joining this live feed. We went all over the place. We got to see some stuff drawn in real time digitally. Got to talk a little bit about the pitfalls of working digitally, some of the workarounds. Recommend creating your own brush. Please check out Richard's channel. It's amazing channel, very, very informative, gives you a peek inside the mind of a genius. So definitely check it out. Check out what he's got to say. Subscribe, follow. Also, amongst yourselves, I like a sense of community. I call you guys couch doodlers because it's fun. And that's it. Thank you for joining. I will see you guys next go around. You have been watching the Couch Doodle Show, and that is it.